Going on, family? Santee Sports here. And for the first half, with Cleveland and Indiana, it was it was competitive, man. Still close. As you see, 59-66. And there's a lot of will here. Like I said, coming into this, these guys know each other very familiar. Back from the Miami Heat series and, what the Pacers and LeBron James pretty much went through. So they know LeBron. He's the key element to getting this job done. But what they didn't expect, mainly coming in here, is the 15 points from Kevin Love or the 15 points from Kyrie Irving. But rest assured, those other two guys were Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade at that time. All right, here we go. So, J.R. Smith, man, he needs to be more dependable as far as the catching that shot off the wing and hitting those threes. Cal Korver has not scored yet here in the first half, but he's played good defense and helped set up perfect plays and good screens in order to get his teammates open and spread the floor, which is beautiful, okay? Tristan Thompson, man, it's about fucking time, all right? 9 rebounds, 6 points. This is good work, man, in the first half. Excellent work. And you have to tilt your hat to that. LeBron James, 8 assists, 14 points and 4 rebounds. Being the king is always directing the team, putting them in good motion in order for them to score. He didn't really take charge to score too much until he got into the second quarter, man. He was more so focused on his teammates getting to their spots and getting into the groove. And that's what a leader does. It's not for the self, but it's for the heart of the team on how to get the job done. All right, moving on to Indiana. Jeff Teague kind of like at the end of the half scoring his first shot or so, as well as Monte Ellis starting to heat up, which they're going to need him. They're really going to need Monte Ellis to get his shit off. At least 13 to 15 points a game. If he can get 20, then that's beautiful. But 13 to 15 points a game from him in order to remain dominant as far as everything. And good passing. 9 points from him. 16 points from PG-13. He was an animal that I knew was going to get after it. And he's been doing that, as such. 4 assists, getting the ball to his teammates. Not as much as LeBron, but in the same token, PG-13 is trying to get after it. 16 points for the first half, first 2 quarters ain't too damn bad. I'll say that. Thaddeus Young played a big part and a big role as far as with somewhat of his defense and him getting teammates involved or what have you, man. He's played. It's like with certain players, you don't see the numbers as much as you see the work on the court. Like they're working hard in order to create for others, man, and doing the little shit. And that's what Thaddeus Young has been. For Miles Turner, 4 points, 3 rebounds. This is unacceptable for this young guy. He can play at a much higher standard. If you want to match things up to before, this is like when Roy Hibbert was decent, but then like 4 or 5 times greater when he's in his best mode. This young man can shoot the mid-range jumper, possibly hit a spot up 3 on you. There's a lot of things that this center can do. This is his second year, and he got switched to the star center role, and they did that for a reason. He definitely he can play good defense, he can block and all that, but he needs to get into his groove and get comfortable. I understand that this is, I want to say, his first playoff game, one of his first playoff games in this type of position with this type of heat on his shoulders, but I'm pretty sure he can handle it. The moment he gets comfortable, Cleveland is in for a lot of trouble and problems. Aaron Booker. I remember seeing him in Chicago. I don't know too much about him this year, but he did enough as far as coming off the bench and doing what he's supposed to be doing with 5 points. Okay, that's good for the first half. 12 points from your bench players or whatever the case, that's good. Give me 12 apiece from each guy. 12, 9, or 5, something that makes something. CJ Miles, 5 points from him. The big X factor that was, the serious hand to hold the Pacers up was Lance Stevenson coming off the bench. I told you guys, I warned you. All right, 4 rebounds, 8 points, and 1 assist. And he's getting after it, man. He's playing like there's no tomorrow. Like there's not another game possibly to play. And that's what you need to do with a guy with a heart like his. I was sad to see him break down the way that he did, I want to say in New Orleans, where he had this, nobody touched him. It was just this weird injury, man, where he ended up hurting his leg. So I'm glad he was able to get back with the Pacers. I believe he played 6 games of the regular season before transitioning here to the playoffs, and he's back home, okay? This is where he should have been all this time before they let him go. But sometimes money gets within people's head. They want to take care of things. You can't blame them. You got to take care of your family, your home at the end of the day. But what I will say about Lance is he is back home with PG-13, and this is definitely showing within his craft and his skill level of game. And the Pacers are a threat, ladies and gentlemen. The score doesn't look like this because they're just playing around. The first quarter was the reading session. This was the time to scope out your team and to see what you have and bring to the table as far as your skill level and what you can and cannot do. The second quarter is the blood and gut round, okay? But if we get into the third and fourth, you're going to see it get down to the nitty gritty. Now, the key elements for the second half will be if Miles Turner can pick up his game a little bit more. If we can get 18 points from Miles Turner, then the Pacers pretty much have this game. Right now, he has 4. He can do it. I know the fuck he can do it. Shit, this motherfucker is nasty. You know, on Cleveland's side, what they need more so effective is they're going to need for J.R. Smith to get hot, and they're going to need for Kyle Korver to get at least 9 buckets and give me about 6 from Ahmad Shepard. At the end of the day, the person with the most points wins. That's what it comes down to. Everybody else can fall on the roll as far as these things, but there's no guarantees. And another thing that Cleveland must hope that doesn't happen is that Jeff Teague catches fire. You know, Jeff Teague or Monte Ellis, where he has one of those 25-point games or something like that, because it smells bad news. Absolutely. This is Santee Walton family. I'll holler at you. Y'all be safe now. In a minute.